Yo, what is up guys? It is Bumfris, back with a little bit more Ask Reddit. Today's question is gonna be, who was the dumbest person you ever met and how did you know? And I have a feeling you're gonna love this one. Also, before you even watch, please leave a like on the video. I'm trying to compete with about 500,000 different text-to-speech channels, and right now they're absolutely kicking my butt, so a like does a lot more than you know. Now let's get right into the video. I was a cook a few years ago, and this particular busy night, we ran out of lobster mac and cheese. This one waitress could not understand how this was possible and just kept nagging and nagging in disbelief. I got annoyed to the point that I told her that the reason for this was that there was a shortage of people with small enough hands to milk lobster's tiny nipples, hence a worldwide shortage of lobster milk to make that dish. I had to come clean with her when she started telling this to customers and they demanded to speak with a manager. You know, if this is anything to go by, I have a really good feeling about what today's question has in store for us, because even though this only has, 800 upvotes, this is probably going to be one of my favorites forever. I went to high school with this guy who probably had about 3 brain cells. He was a stereotypical redneck, and here's a list of the stupid crap that he did that I can name off the top of my head. During a music class where we had a work period for some project, he asked the teacher if he could go make up a test he had missed earlier that week for a different class. The teacher said yes, he left the room, went into the band's instrument storage room, took a nap, then got really pissed at the teacher for not letting him make up the test. In the same music class, we had to use GarageBand to create a soundtrack for something, and there were some guidelines that we had to follow. Instead of following the guidelines, this kid just filled the timeline with random loops, admitted to doing that, then tried to argue with the teacher about his grade for the project, which was only 20%. He tried to become a SoundCloud rapper by recording his mixtape in the school bathroom, then deleted it about 3 weeks later because everyone made fun of him. The only line I actually remember was from a diss track where he said roasted in a pan of ovens. He started fights with 4 different people and got his ass kicked 3 times. The one guy who didn't beat him up was 2 years younger, 6 inches shorter, and probably about 80 pounds lighter. One fight was started because someone made an incest joke about him and his cousin, one was because someone made fun of him for the previously mentioned line from his mixtape, one was because someone was calling him by his rapper name, which is just his initials, which apparently was disrespectful because the other guy didn't know his middle name, and one was because he was flirting with a girl who already had a boyfriend. He bragged about getting his very own tractor, but refused to show anyone pictures of it, and a few weeks later, someone finally convinced him to show pictures, and it was a lawnmower. He got caught watching porn during class on his school laptop and responded by punching it and breaking the screen. Then lastly, he tried out for the baseball team one year, couldn't go back for a fly ball without falling on his ass, missed every pitch during batting practice, and got mad at the coach for not letting him on the team. Man, this kid honestly just sounds like a piece of work. I really wonder how he turned out as an adult, most likely not great, but I mean, you just never know with kids like this. They might just hit the jackpot and become the next, redneck TV star, who knows. My wife wanted to meet an old friend from school that she hadn't seen for about 20 years. We went to dinner and he brought his wife, who he met 2 months ago, who was also a male entertainer, and 2 kids. He was white, she was black, and spent the whole night trying to start crap with people for making racist comments about their relationship behind their back. Side note, no one was. When we finally got into talking, he told me about 9 jump points that exist to get off the earth. I thought to myself, oh boy, a flat earther. I've never met a real one before. But no, that's not what he was talking about. That would have been so much better than what he was talking about. He said there are 9 jump points on Earth that are essentially wormholes to other planets, and that there is one in New York City that goes to Mars, and that the American government has already colonized Mars and is hiding it from the people. And the worst part, he was dead serious. Just straight up, this dude's clearly a lunatic, but whatever. If you actually search wormhole to Mars, there are pages and pages of results. How many did you say? 864,000 results where people genuinely believe there's wormholes to Mars. What has this world come to? A friend of mine is a sweet guy, but is overweight and balding, and quite frankly, not very attractive in the face. Well, one day he lets us know that he's met a girl and she might be the one. He's in his late 20s for reference. Well, I've met some of the jewels he's hooked up with in the past, so I wasn't expecting too much. So I finally meet this girl and she is drop dead gorgeous and has a body that is incredible. I talked to her for a while and she is super friendly and outgoing. I'm stoked for my boy. He's found the best he's ever gonna find. Anyway, the night progresses and the new couple starts talking about their plans for an upcoming trip to New Mexico. And she starts telling us how excited she is because she's never gone to another country before. I laughed a bit and realized that she was dead serious. My friend just looked at me and shook his head, and I knew that he knew she was as dumb as an effing rock, but she was his dumb effing rock. For what it's worth, he did end up helping her get her passport. I mean, I hate to be that guy, but I really don't think that getting her the passport really counted for much at all. I mean, the difference between Mexico and New Mexico and the fact that one's its own country and the other one's a state within the United States, that's probably something that people within the US should know. But I mean, who am I to judge? I wouldn't have a clue what half the US states are, right? I asked the temp at work to weigh a couple of lever arch files for postage. She came back and told me that they were 65 kilos. I asked if it were possible that it was 6.5 kilos, but she insisted that it wasn't. We argued about it for a good 5 minutes. It wasn't until I asked her how much she weighed, which was 59 kilos, that it finally twigged that those two small folders couldn't possibly weigh more than her. Imagine arguing over something as dumb as this when you literally could have just gone back to the scale, weighed it again, checked to see if there was a point in there, maybe even taken a photo to prove that you were right if that was gonna be the case, and then problem solved. You would have realized you're an idiot and just been able to move on with your day. But hey, at least there's one positive out of this. These people, while they might be, a little bit below average intelligence, they're still not gonna be as bad as entitled parents, and thank God for that. So this guy had just purchased a new high-powered BB gun. We had just finished shooting it in the backyard when he points the barrel at my face and pulls the trigger several times. I tell him to stop being an idiot and he just laughs and says, "It's not loaded." Then the moron puts the barrel in his mouth and pop, shoots a BB right through his tongue and into his uvula. For those asking why it shot him and not me, I was sitting down so the end of the barrel was at a downward angle. When the genius shot himself, the barrel was at an upwards angle, causing the last BB to roll down to the back of the ammo tube and into the chamber. Honestly, seems like a real smart kid. I mean, he knew that the gun wasn't loaded, so obviously nothing could have gone wrong, right? The biggest fear for me is that these people could potentially have kids. Just imagine them raising kids and then these kids turning out just like them, if not worse than them. I mean, what hope do they really have? When I was in the Air Force, I was the lead trainer/certifier in my unit. When a new person would show up, I'd watch them do the job, answer any of the ordinary questions, etc. Then when I felt they were ready, I'd sign off saying they were qualified. This all happened after they finished a 6-week school learning the job. The 73 troops I trained took on average 3 days to complete this phase. Then there was this one guy. I took him under my wing, non-stop for an entire month. He'd mess something up one day and we'd correct it. No big deal. The next, he'd get it right, but get something else wrong. Then on the following day, mess up on the first thing that he'd corrected. Bear in mind that he has a step-by-step checklist in his hand that lists everything to do and in what order he had to do it. After a month of this, I figured there was nothing I could do for him and maybe it was my teaching method. So I handed him over to my supervisor. They spent another 3 weeks together until he was finally certified. A month and a half to learn what should have taken 3 days. Personally, I really liked the guy, had a good heart and didn't give up after the setbacks and probably the funniest non-comedian I've ever met. He was just a bit dense when it came to the job. The job was refueling jets, which is really about 2 degrees harder than filling your car. A chimp could do it and probably learn in less time. Man, this whole time I'm reading this, I'm thinking this is going to be this massive important job that actually is like a really difficult concept to understand, but no. He comes in at the last minute after making you think that maybe this was something super difficult and just hits you with, it was refueling jets. I guess you just gotta kind of feel sorry for this guy. Not everything's made to be done by every single person and you probably have to think that this guy just wasn't made to be fueling jets. My former boss was worried that the island of Manhattan would sink with all the extra visitors for New Year's and the ball dropping. She thought islands float, and when she found out that wasn't true, she thought it was so funny that she told everyone the story. She was later fired for withholding a pay rise from someone on her team because he didn't accept her sexual advances. He had the text to prove it. Wait, are you actually telling me that islands don't float? I'm from Australia. I was under the impression for like my entire life that we were just on a big floating barge of nothingness. Like my entire life has been a lie. I'm gonna leave you guys to wonder if I'm being serious or not. I might be, I might not be. I guess you'll never know, but yeah, islands float apparently. The more you know. One time my now ex-girlfriend was watching Maury Povich and it was one of those paternity test episodes with the classic "you are not the father" moments, and she just turns to me and says, "If we ever have a baby and I find out that I'm not the mother, I'll kill you." Thankfully, we didn't end up reproducing. I mean, I can see this as a possibility. All that has to happen is this dude has to go and adopt a child, convince this lady that it's hers, and then next thing you know, she's got a child that isn't hers. Look, if she's dumb enough to say something like this, she's probably dumb enough to fall for that. So, I mean, who knows? Alright everyone, that is that for another episode of r/AskReddit. This one was a pretty fun one. I did enjoy making it, so I hope you guys enjoyed watching just as much as I enjoyed making. Now, I have this idea and I don't know entirely if it's a good idea, so I want to get some feedback before I do it. But let me know what you think in the comments below. What I'm thinking is, you know how we have seen a lot of entitled parents and choosing beggars stories where the entitled parents and the choosing beggars both ask for babysitters for, let's say, $10 a day or $50 a week, something ridiculous like that. So it turns out there are heaps of these ads out there, right? Like plenty of people who are offering absolutely stupid, ridiculous amounts of money for like proper babysitting hours. Like I said, this is just a thought, but how would you guys feel if I were to get some of these ads, even if you guys found some ads that you thought were really funny, and we actually call those people and just mess with them a little bit, have a little bit of fun with the entitled parents and kind of take the entitled parents and choosing beggars series to its own level? I think that would be really cool. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, because I personally think it's a good idea, but it's not really up to me, right? Anyway, this outro is getting super long, so I'll pretty much wrap things up there, but I do want to get your feedback, like I said, before I make any big decisions like that. So let me know in the comments below what you think, and I will look at doing that in the next maybe week or two. But yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and tomorrow will be some more entitled parents. It is Easter, so it may be up a little bit earlier or later, just depending on how I go. But yeah, have a great day. Have a great holiday for those of you who celebrate Easter, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.